Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Terrible clap.
this is the one clap.
Alright, one clap.
Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Alright guys. Hey guys, welcome to or back to the channel. My name's Grant and today we have Mason with us and we're going to be interviewing him over his BMW E30 here. First of all, like the year, make, model.
So this is a 1991 BMW E30. Started life as a 318 IS, which is the 4-cylinder model. And the IS is the sport version, so it had like a wing on the trunk. But other than that, that's kind of the basic of what this chassis is.
When did you get the car and how did you find it?
So I got the car, I'd say about 6 years ago probably. I was in college, sophomore-ish year, junior year. I had flipped a couple cars beforehand, you know, just bought a cheap car, made it run, sold it, and saved up a little bit of money to buy this. So I've always loved these things. I don't really know why. Just ever since like middle school, this was one of my cars that I wanted to own one day. So got a little bit of money saved up. I was like, I want a toy, a project, a fun car, and was just searching on Facebook or Craigslist at the time, and found this one in San Antonio, Texas. So when I found this one, I had actually had another project that I was flipping, that I was working on, pulling the engine out, redoing the head gasket. So it just worked out that I sold that truck that I was working on to a guy in Corpus Christi, which is like an hour from San Antonio, or 3, I don't know, don't quote me. Anyways, so I trailered that truck to Corpus Christi, drove to San Antonio, picked up this thing, and then drove it home all in a day. And cool story, the next day, so that was on a Saturday, then Sunday after, I took this thing out on an autocross track and raced it for the first time. And then it went downhill from there.
You pretty much answered like what drew you to the car. You know, I don't know if it's just the headlights up front or the way the grille looks or, you know, stance boy stuff, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's one of those things where just from a young age I had seen one of these, I don't even know where, on the internet, I don't know.
I mean, I think it looks freaking gorgeous, especially now.
Yeah.
Alright, so when you picked it up, were there any like mods to it or was it bone stock?
It was, I think it was completely bone stock from what I remember. It wasn't lowered at all. It was like 2 feet off the ground. Looked really silly. It had mods done previously, I think, from looking at it. And then they put it back to like stock height and everything, which was kind of weird to me. And
so you think the guy like put it on coils and then
I think so.
put it back?
Well, I don't know if it was on coils,
maybe?
but it had some stuff done to it previously. It really badly done to it. Like the radio wires, aftermarket radio wires are just like little twist and tape kind of action.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah,
you know?
it was bad. So the first thing I did to it, like probably a week after owning it, was I bought some lowering springs and got it a little lower, looking a little better. But yeah.
I mean, when you picked it up, it was gray.
Yeah, it was like a dark, like charcoal gray almost, like a bluish gray.
Yeah, and then
Insert photo.
and then you had the white wheels were from the Miata, weren't they?
No, the wheels on it were actually like a stock aluminum color. Those were the BMW wheels. They're called
okay.
basket weaves. They're like a tight interwoven kind of wheel. And that was another thing I did right when I lowered it, like a week into ownership, is I painted those white instead of like the weird silver color. So I painted them white myself, and I think it looked alright.
Yeah, I mean, I think they look pretty good. So
Yeah.
There's plenty of photos of him drifting that I'm sure are popping up right now. Drifting it, taking good, cool pictures. And I mean, it looks really, really good. But then you started to get into your own actual modifications, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, so actually the first thing that happened to it, so I had done a little bit of things here and there, like the lowering springs, and then pretty much through college, I think I was just driving it. I don't think I had done many modifications to it. And And then, I can't remember which came first. I got in a little fender bender on this side, so I had to get this aftermarket bumper. But also during college, it came with a 4-cylinder engine, and that thing blew a head gasket or something. It started burning coolant.
That's right.
And then, luckily, I found this engine swap on Craigslist for like dirt cheap. Right when I, like probably a month after I'd blown the head gasket, I was just kind of driving on it because it wasn't that bad.
Didn't we have to pull over all the time to let it cool down?
No, it never overheated. It was just like puffs of white smoke out of the exhaust because it was burning coolant, but it never overheated. So then I found this engine swap on Craigslist for $1,000, which was a steal because it came with a trans, a brand new clutch and flywheel, which sucks, but
it doesn't suck. It's
basically all the swap parts, which for this engine swap, which is a E36 M50 2.5 liter engine out of basically like 4 years newer than this car. So it's not much newer, but the technology in this engine was way better than what I had. And it's 2 more cylinders, so that's always a good thing. So the swap, this happened in college, going back to what I was doing to the car at the time. And this E36 M50 swap in the E30 chassis is like super easy, honestly. You just find a few, it's like a Frankenstein of BMW OEM parts, the engine mounts, and then it just kind of bolts together. There's obviously a couple things, it's not always bolt up, but I did this right here in the shop, probably my junior year of college.
Was it that early?
Between junior and senior number 1 year. I don't know. And so I can go on into the other mods since then.
Absolutely.
All right. So I did the swap, 6-cylinder, gained, I don't know, 50, 80 horsepower from that, which was good for what I was doing. The car was still ugly blue, gray, black thing. Had a black fender on here from that accident I was in, which I just crashed it. It wasn't an accident. I just crashed it and did something, trying to drift in the rain. I'm gonna be real. It's not like someone hit me.
I like how you admitted to it later. You're like, no.
I kept saying accident, and I'm like, no, it's just, I just wrecked
Someone's gonna show up in the comments who's like, I was there.
I'm not saying where or what happened, but I just crashed it, drifting in the rain. Don't do that. Well, that reminds me, another mod I did really early on was welded the differential, which, if you're just gonna drive a car around the city, don't do that. Don't weld your differential, because then you spin out in the rain and crash it. Anyways, so.
You know good and well you clutch kicked.
No, I didn't.
You just spun?
It was a really long sweeping turn, and I was like, maybe I can kick the back end down a little bit. So I kind of like floored it. It was like in 4th gear with a 4-cylinder. I like floored it, and then it caught up in the RPMs, and like just the back end came out too fast. And I just kind of like went up on a curve. Anyway, it was great, good time. So, where was I in the timeline? Engine swap,
Diff.
Well, the diff was early. I forgot about that. But engine swap, and then I drove it through college. Had some like cooling system redos. I had to make this front radiator support because I had another radiator in there. Did a little custom fabrication, just kind of making it better and better through college. And then graduated, got a real job. That's when the fun began. Got coilovers, angle kit. Those were pretty early on. So the coilovers were first. That made a huge difference because the car was just on lowering springs that were really soft. So coilovers first. These are like the big things. Coilovers. And then I think we just painted it. I don't think I had much done to it between, I was just driving it, making it better and better, drifting it every now and then. Then the next big project that I'd always wanted to do was paint it. And we decided to do it ourselves, or I decided to do it myself. And so I spent, kind of my evenings after work with an orbital sander, just kind of knocking back the paint that was fading or anything like that, getting it all, kind of smoothed out with the sander. And then came here, set up a paint booth in this shop, and we spent a weekend and sprayed the car white. And shameless plug, there's a video of that on this channel. Go back and watch it because it's awesome. Just don't judge our paint booth.
And don't judge how sweaty we were. Okay,
It was
Texas.
like 120 degrees, and we were wrapped in plastic with no airflow. Just nothing paint. So after the paint, that's when the car really just like shot up. I just loved it 20 times more after that. And so paint and wheels, and the wheels are like the favorite thing I've ever put on this car. Besides, well, we'll get to that. So painted wheels, looks freaking awesome. Just enjoying it for a little while that way. Drifted it once or twice like that on the stock 6-cylinder. And then I got a bonus from work and instantly bought thousands of dollars worth of turbo parts. I was in Colorado, got an email that said my bonus had just come in my bank account, and I was like, guys, I'm not doing anything tonight. Logged onto my laptop and ordered all of my turbo parts in Colorado. It was stupid, but it was awesome. Oh, before that happened, I had Megasquirt. So I had Megasquirt, which is the standalone ECU. Was that after I painted it or before?
That was right after you painted it.
Right after I painted it. So that was I wanted to get that before I got the turbo so I could get it running on this engine without having to figure out all the turbo stuff along with it. So I got that running really well on the stock naturally aspirated engine. And then turbo stuff. And that brings us to today, I think.
It brings us to at least to the last episode.
Yeah, the last episode for sure. That's when I installed all the turbo.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that video yet, it's also on the channel. It's one of the most popular videos on the channel. If you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, you know? Helps out a bunch.
To see more turbos.
To see more turbos.
He just ordered one.
So, the car that doesn't run. We're not talking about that car.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the turbo kit. So for my turbo build, I guess we probably touched on it a little bit in the previous video, the turbo build video. So the block, the engine itself is bone stock. The previous owner before me had put ARP stuff on the bottom end and new bearings, I think, which those have been run for 4 years now. So they're still fresh, they're good. The head had been decked and resurfaced before I got it, so I didn't have that resurfaced again. I bought what they call a cut ring head gasket and a spacer. So the stock engine comes to about 10-to-1 compression ratio, and that was a bit high for what I wanted to do. I just wanted to be able to safely street tune it myself and not have to worry about detonation or blowing holes in the block. So I got a spacer with the head gasket, cut ring head gasket. The spacer bumped down the compression ratio to about 8.5-to-1 or so. So that's everything that's done to the engine itself. I have Siemens 60-pound injectors, which are super common for this application. They're a really cheap name brand, high quality injector. Not cheap, but inexpensive. High quality injector. And 60 pounds is plenty to run whenever I put it on E85 flex fuel later on. I'll be able to use those. And then the turbo is a Borg Warner 257, whatever, SXE, whatever they call it. Pretty much a base model Borg Warner turbo, and then with a 0.82 AR rear housing. And then I just kind of pieced everything together off of like eBay and some other companies with the wastegate, the intercooler piping, and just did a custom intercooler setup and custom downpipe, TIG welded that, connected it to the previous exhaust I already had, which was a 3-inch. Well, the wastegate, the manifold is the company's Good and Tight, or RSI, Rapid Spool Industries. They make BMW manifolds. This one is really, really great quality. Recommend the quality, but the wastegate placement had major boost creep issues with it, and that's, from what I've heard, really common with these manifolds. So this weekend, while I'm up here, as I was moving my wastegate from the manifold to right on the exhaust housing, so that it has really great wastegate priority, and it can flow all the exhaust past the turbo, so I don't overboost to like 30 pounds and blow a hole in the engine. Spark plugs, what do they call it? Coils, stock intake, pretty much everything else is stock on the engine.
Yeah, but that intake is like known to flow really well, right?
Yeah, people put, this is the M50 Intake Manifold. People put these on the M52, M54, because they're really, really good intake manifold. I've seen people blow them apart with like 40 PSI, but I'm not doing that, so. Oh, and then we can go talk about the interior. I did that right after I painted it, I think. I don't remember, but around the same time in the past 6 months. I got an NRG racing seat. I actually ordered 2 of them, and one got lost / stolen by UPS. Who knows? So I have one NRG racing seat, which helped out a ton because I was just flying out of the stock seats when I was trying to drift. Kind of gutted the interior because somebody in my area wanted a clean black sport interior, and I was like, I don't need this stuff, so I kind of gutted it, and I'm gonna put back, I made custom door panels to cover up. I didn't want it to look like a wholly gutted, nasty race car, so I wanted to kind of cover it back up and make custom door panels to replace the ones I took off. I'm gonna cover up the rear seat and recarpet it and everything, so it'll look nice still. It'll look like a complete interior car.
It looks good right now.
Yeah.
So.
Just needs a few more touches.
Yeah, we were up until 2 in the morning yesterday, street tuning this thing in Mexico. At this time, do you have any future plans for the build? So if money wasn't an issue or anything like that, what would you dream? Like, would you do a 1J swap? Would you put 19 turbos on it? Something ridiculous. I don't know.
So right now, if money was an issue, I'd do a lot of things differently. But realistically speaking, the next step, like I said before, is to just kind of drive it and see where the weak links are right now. Like, I have a feeling the cooling system is going to be a pretty weak link because it's just a stock radiator. So I'll probably have to get, like an aluminum core, thicker radiator for that. I want to redo the front end. I don't like this radiator setup, and I want to put hinges on my hood again so I don't have to pull the hood off and on. So those are like kind of little short-term things. Finish the interior, obviously. The rear bumper needs to be fixed. There's some rust spots in there. I was just going to get another one of these plastic bumpers and cut all that out. So I haven't done that yet. Yeah, right now I just really want to drive it, seat time.
Yeah.
I'm getting a rear subframe for it soon. I'm gonna use that as like a spare and reinforce it, put nice poly bushings all over it, which it has poly, but I'm gonna put new ones, put camber caster adjustments on that subframe, make it really nice and reinforced, and then swap that subframe into this car. Another big thing is the transmission. I want to get a new transmission.
Are you thinking ZF, or you thinking?
Yeah, right now it has the E30 transmission in it, and I think I want to do the ZF because they seem like a little more robust from what I've heard. This one obviously hasn't given me any issues, so that's why I'm not in a hurry to do it. Finish the inside, I think I said that, and then probably after I get a bunch of seat time this year, maybe look into getting a cage so that I can compete in it, do tandem battles and stuff like that. So roll cage would mean I have to gut the interior to get the roll cage installed, and that would allow me to really clean things up in there, maybe redo some of the wiring, cut back a lot of the wiring that I don't need, things like that. But like I said, I want to keep it like a full interior car.
Yeah.
I don't want it, gutted and race car. I want it to be comfortable still, because I do street drive this on the weekends when I'm bored and want to drive something fun. What are the plans? Yeah, that's really it. It's not going to be crazy. I really like just a fun kind of canyon cruiser, but Texas version because we don't have canyons. So, yeah.
I think the only thing that I would add to that list is AC, but I know.
I've been talking about AC for 3 years now, putting it back in this car. And now I just took up all the room for my AC compressor. So who knows if that'll actually happen.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I'd love it too, but I mean, give me like 2 months when it starts to be 100 degrees and I'll be like, yeah, I'm putting AC in it right now. So
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
It'll probably happen this summer.
So if you have any questions, because I know there was quite a few on the last episode asking about specifics for the turbo kit, I hope we answered your questions. If you have any more, you can hit me up on my Instagram or comment in the section below, or you can hit Mason up at his Instagram. I'm sure the handle is on the screen. So
I don't know it, so we'll put it on the screen.
I don't know mine. I'm like, yeah, it's something. I think it's something really simple, but
yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, man, thanks for having the interview and everything like that. It was honestly quite a lot of fun talking about your car.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks for always lending a hand in my stupid projects that I do. So.
I don't know what you're talking about, except for the fact that you're making me redo my engine mounts.
Yeah, you'll thank me.
Yeah, I will, but why didn't you say it the first time? Why didn't you mention it like 20
I didn't have that
minutes?
idea until you built half of one. And then I had that idea, and I was like, hey.
Well, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will catch y'all in the next one.